Hello, everyone. It's Coach Ricky here from the Buffalo Tribe, and we're back with another episode of the Buffalo Tribe podcast. Today's guest, you can find her on the top of the leaderboard of the Open, and that's just one of the reasons why I wanted to have a chat with her. I've been following a little bit her progress through the years, going from a crazy amount of unbroken bar muscle up to opening your own affiliate and going through starting as being a professional athlete. So she has a lot on her plate, but thank you for making the time to be here with us. Guest today is Matilde Garnes.
Thank you.
So welcome to our podcast today. So we were just briefly speaking behind the scene before we started to recording, and I told her that I would like to kind of start from the beginning. I was listening to a podcast recently and I heard something very nice from an Olympian athlete. And she said that a dream becomes reality very slowly and then all of a sudden. So it's like years and years and years of work. And then just all of a sudden things start to click and you find yourself where you wanted to be for the whole time. We're going to get into that last part maybe later on. But before we get there, like, how did it all started for you? Who was Matilde like 10 years ago? How this journey started?
Yeah, I always played sports. So when I was younger, I played football and handball. And I wanted to be a professional handball player, but because of an injury in my back, I had to quit with all the sports on a professional level. So I just started to do some strength training after I've been a lot with the physiotherapist. And I was training at the normal training center in the beginning, but I think it was really, really boring.
Yeah.
So that's when I found CrossFit. I moved to Australia in 2016 to study, and I was studying to be a personal trainer, and the study included some CrossFit. So I tried to find the study without the CrossFit part because I really didn't want to do CrossFit. So it's actually pretty funny now. But it wasn't possible, so I had to try CrossFit for the first time in 2016.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the sports. In the first workout. Yeah.
Do you remember what was your first workout? Because I have an image of myself with my first workout. It was one of the most painful stuff I've ever done. And looking back now, I feel like laughing.
Yeah, I actually don't remember the movements, but I remember our coach saying that we were doing an AMRAP of 7 minutes.
All right.
And I was like, okay, 7 minutes, that's nothing. Is it possible to even get tired in 7 minutes? And I was laying on the floor for like 1 hour after those 7 minars. So that's what I remember the most.
I think my first workout was probably like 10 calories on the road, 10 wall balls, 5 pull-ups for like 3 rounds. And it was the hardest stuff I have ever done. And I'm tall, so like wall balls, I'm 195. So like wall balls and rowing should have been like easy peasy for me. But just like and coming from years of basketball, I was like, I'm fit, I got these things. And then just melted straight away. I think what's really cool with you is that for a long time, CrossFit has been associated with like people getting hurt and bringing like injuries and stuff like that. I never really believed into that. Like, you can get hurt doing a lot of stupid thing, and you can do CrossFit also stupidly or wisely. And then it's really up to you or who's coaching you. And for you to coming from an injury, like trying to recover from an injury and actually find the benefit of strength and conditioning was like an unusual story to hear. Now you're also coach, like how important it is to find someone that like kind of get you on the right track. Because I think on that first day you can really like love it or hate it, and I think the person you find in front can really like kind of decide what the future for you is going to be in that discipline, sort of. Because if you walk in and you have a bad experience, you might be like, how was your relationship with the first coaches that you've had, and how like that relationship eventually evolved?
Yeah, my coach in Australia told me from the first day, actually, that you can be good if you want to. But I wasn't looking for some sports to try to like get to an elite level. I was just trying to find some training that I thought was fun again, because after having to quit playing handball, it felt just so boring to train again, and I had an injury and everything was kind of sucked. So, but he told me from day one that if you want to be good, you can. But I didn't believe him, because I felt like a total newbie in CrossFit, and I couldn't do snatch, I couldn't do kipping. I tried to do like strict muscle ups, and I was pretty strong with my own body weight, but I was not strong in my legs or anything. But we were doing CrossFit for like 3 months, 1 to 2 times a day.
Oh wow!
And it was just more and more fun for me. From day to day, I felt like I was achieving more and more goals, and learned pretty fast. So I had a really good relationship with my coach from day one. But I moved home to Norway after half a year. And it wasn't before like maybe 2018 I started to train properly and wanted to be good.
Yeah.
It's
very nice, because I just had a few days ago a chat with a guy. He went from being overweight to make a world record running a marathon by pulling a car. And and when people do this crazy thing, and I even look at you going like, the 60 unbroken muscle up, making to the top of the games, it's really easy for people to think like, oh, these people are just gifted and they were born with like this sort of talent, and just assume like how they kind of got it easy. And it's awesome for me to hear. I didn't know this part of your story, that you went to Australia, that you went through an injury, and then you started without being able to keep. Because now when we look at like your clips online, it's like, Jesus Christ, this girl is awesome. And I think it's something that is very cool to see, to tell people like, hey, look, no one's born good at this. You just need to put the hours in, and you kind of can go through and make it happen. What was the thing that kind of clicked for you one day? You say, I didn't want to compete, but they told me I could be good. I was like kind of competing before in handball. Then I kind of let myself go and just wanted to do sports. But then probably like that competitiveness that you had kind of clicked in again. Do you remember if there was like a certain like moment, or like, they signed you up for a competition or something happened, you was like, all right, I'm on it. I'm going to go back and compete in this thing.
it started out with some team competitions. When I moved home to Norway, I joined a CrossFit box. Again, just to train for fun and not competing at all. And some guys needed a teammate, and I was like, okay, I can join you guys. And because I became good pretty fast at some things. So I joined the team competition and just did that for fun, like 2 to 3 competitions maybe. And it was suddenly I qualified for a national team competition we have in Norway in functional fitness.
I think I saw that. Can you explain me what that is? Because I was confused. You won it, right?
The first time I didn't, but I won it the second year. So in 2018, I joined. That was my first individual competition, just for fun. I wasn't supposed to even sign up, but I was just joining to do the training, to do the workouts for fun, and suddenly I qualified for the national competition. And it was top 5 from that competition that qualified for the World Championships in London. And my goal was to be I think it was 40 girls and 40 guys from Norway that competed, and my goal was maybe top 20. And suddenly I was number 5 and qualified for the World Championship in in London as a team, because the girls and guys from number 1 to 3 did the world championship individual, and the 4th and 5th girl and guy were one team, consisted of 4 people. So again, I was like, oh, a new team competition, but now it's suddenly a world championship. So, but I joined.
Yourself there.
I think that was the competition where I was like, oh, maybe I can be pretty good at this. So maybe I just have to try. So that's when I decided to go for it and have a coach.
So you've been
I've had
program ever since, right?
Yeah, the program and John Singleton.
That's cool. And what I wanted to ask is, like, you sound kind of really casual, like, yeah, you know, I was doing that and things just kind of happened. Like, seems like you were like a magic flow where things were just like kind of going your way. I want to go a little bit later into, well, actually, let's go into it now. It's like, before we go into all the things that worked for you, like now it seems like everything, you know, you want to try things and things work, and then you find yourself in like this really good spot. But I remember like just last year when the whole Corona things happened, like one of your posts went kind of viral when you found out that you couldn't participate at the games after you qualified as a team, that you couldn't. I remember when you were in Dubai, because I was working in Dubai at the time, and I remember like I think one of your teammates got hurt and you couldn't participate at the Dubai CrossFit Championship. I think even in London, the first time I heard about you, I think you guys were really close to podium, and then something again happened. I think one of your teammates couldn't make it. So you had this magic glow, like things go and I go with the flow, but you also had like a lot of setbacks that could really be frustrating, because probably it never really depends on you. You know, you had teammates that got hurt and you got Corona. How do you cope also with these moments? Because it's very easy when things go well, but when you get like, you know, these hard hits in small amount of times, like how do you kind of bounce back and find the motivation to keep on doing what you do?
Yeah, that's a hard one. It was it really sucks when you have to withdraw from a competition when you feel in a great shape yourself. And I felt really, really sorry for my teammates, and none of us was like mad or anything. We were just happy that everything was okay. But at the same time, it's really frustrating sitting on the sideline, looking at all the other competes, and you feel in a great shape and wish you were on the competition floor. So it was hard to find the motivation to like compete again, especially going team after it happened with my first team in strength and depth. At the last workout, one of my teammates injured her shoulder. And before Dubai, one of my teammates got hit by a car, and it just felt like, oh, you got hit by a car some days before the competition. It just how can we be so unlucky? And then deciding to like still going team. I was always afraid of something to happen for me or anyone else on the team, just having to withdraw again. But then we were competing the program team for the rest of the season, and it went really well. So
which is
then
the
suddenly
you guys won?
What?
Which one is the sanctional that you guys won?
It was actually the Norwegian CrossFit Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when we qualified for the games. And then I just got my motivation back, because okay, now things are going in the right direction. And then Corona came. So I haven't been so lucky with the timing.
Yeah, that's why I feel like, you know, you could have had the opportunity to do like so many more things of the one that you've already done. And it feels like always like, you know, if things could have gone just a little bit different, it would have been easy. But, you know, things can always go wrong. And here is where I wanted to go into other two things maybe about your training. Like, there's some stuff you can't control, which is Corona. You can't really control what happens. If you're part of the team, you can't really control what happened to your teammates. What are the things that you like have control on, like kind of your non-negotiables? Like, I have control of how many hours I sleep, I have control of what I train. Like, what are the things that now you absolutely want to control to make sure that you're ready to go into a competition? And considering all the things that happen on a really short notice, with your like with teammate accidents and stuff like that, but even how CrossFit is changing the format through the years, do you still think like long-term goals, or you kind of go more like, all right, let's think about these a year and then we'll figure out whatever comes next?
I think the new rule book that changes like every year,
Yeah.
it makes it hard to set like a long-term goals. Of course, our every CrossFitter's dream is to compete at the CrossFit Games. Yeah. But if this year, it's not the same rules as in 2020. Yeah. So if it was the same rules as last year, I would already have qualified for the games, being a national champion and top 30 in the world, I think. Yeah. Was that before? Yeah.
I think it's and like now that's with all the sanctional it was again. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, sanctional. Yeah. Yeah, sanctionals and everything. So it's hard to find long-term goals when everything always is changing. Yeah. But for me, it's by the things you can control. It's been a real game changer for me, being able to control how much I sleep, how much I can recover, and how much I work, because this is the first year where I am working much. So the last 3 years I have been studying physiotherapy. I have been working a lot, maybe had time to sleep only 6 hours, only had to do my first session in 5, 6 in the morning to be able to do 2 sessions. Yeah. And I think that's now that I have the ability to just work and recover, and yeah, it's easier to do 2 sessions and just focus on being an athlete and focus on the training only. It's always the first priority. Yeah. And the other years it's been like the 4th priority. I had to work first. I had to do everything. I had to exams, and yeah. So that's been a real game changer for me this year. I think that's a part of my it has affected my performance a lot.
Yeah. How was the relationship between like you studying and trying to be a professional athlete at the time? Because I've talked to a lot of different people, and it really depends kind of where they are in the world. It's really either really accommodating. I can think of like, I have some friends in America, so where if you're a student but you're also an athlete, they try to do as much as they can to support your athletic career and make sure that the study kind of match whatever is your athletic purpose. While, for example, in Italy, I remember for me when I was younger, it was like, oh, you're playing basketball. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, we don't care. You still need to do what you need to do. And we're not going to do anything to try to help you. So you figured it out. How was that with you? Like, of course, like, I mean, I guess it was like early morning training, late night studying kind of life for quite some time.
Yeah. It was hard to complete the study. But the school and everything was really helpful, that I could, I always got, when we had some like practical, had to work during the study, I always got to do that in my own city, just didn't have to move or drive for like 1 hour. And I could maybe have a workout in the morning and come like 30-60 minutes too late for the class. So I find people helpful here, but it's still hard to like complete a study while you're a professional athlete, of course.
Yeah, I bet it must be like, that's why I was curious to see how was your experience, because I think that's another thing that I think is a little bit misleading. Sometimes people think that you just like wake up one day, you're an athlete, but maybe what lets you to become an athlete and afford an athlete lifestyles, which I think is the best lifestyle in the world. Like
Yeah.
I talk for like, I have I call it a job is hard. Like I work online most of the time with my client. I love what I do and I get to train all the time. And I wouldn't negotiate that for any party, for anything. When I was in high school, I was very happy to skip school trips and stuff like that to go training. Like it never felt like a sacrifice. I always believe it's the best lifestyle, but it comes with some sort of things that you kind of have to give up on, and you kind of earn it at the end of like a journey. And if you earn it enough, then you actually get to live that sort of lifestyle. So I'm very happy that you got yourself into the position to, you know, kind of guarantee yourself a future with all the studies that you've done, and now being able to go and fulfill your dreams of becoming a CrossFit athlete. So that's very cool, and I'm very happy you got that. Like you put in the work before that.
Yeah. It's the best lifestyle. I agree.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, so you finish your study, you start to become a professional athlete, and then it's like, you know what, let's open a box. What I wanted to ask you is that part of affording a lifestyle that includes fitness? Like, is that a way to, you know, a lot of people open boxes because like, you know, this is going to be my job, but also allows me the opportunity to be in the gym for longer hours in the day. So it also allows me to pursue my career as an athlete. Or it started through different circumstances. I think you and the two other girls that owns it are your old friends from a long time, right?
Yeah, we are. It's just suddenly happened. It wasn't a part of my plan, actually. So I've always been like dreaming of opening my own CrossFit box, but I thought maybe I could do that when I was done competing.
Okay.
So maybe like after become a master athlete or something, just open a box when I was 35 or anything. But the opportunity just suddenly came to us, and we didn't have so much to do during because of the corona. I wasn't traveling. Didn't do anything, just some online coaching, and we were just like, oh, why not?
That's really crazy though. Like a lot of businesses were like, you know, struggling during corona, or like they were wondering about the futures, and you come in, it's like, you know what, we'll open during corona. That's a pretty bossy.
Yeah, it was just it was actually a small CrossFit box before.
Okay.
And some guys were going to sell all the equipment and everything. So we were just like, why shouldn't we just reopen it? And I think we decided like 14 days before we opened up the whole thing.
All right.
So it was just crazy. Everything was just like, yeah. I don't know how it actually happened, but I'm really glad we did. And I get to, it's easy to combine the training and working at the same place.
Yeah.
I can do like one session, I can do some coaching, either coach our members or online coaching, just sitting at the office. And I can do my second session, maybe do some coaching or some nutrition, help people with that. So it's a really nice lifestyle to have, and being able to be a professional athlete, but also make some money on the side, because so it's perfect right now. What?
You still have a life outside, you know, your training and everything. So the bill still needs to be paid. And if you can match the two, it's awesome. I was just looking today at the last post you've made on the first Open as a business owner in your box, and it looked pretty cool. So it's always nice when you see like these sort of success stories, especially now that I know the story behind it, like how everything just happened quickly. I was planning to ask you, like, did you encounter any problem or any adversity that you didn't think of? But I guess that opening in 14 days, you probably had like some wake up call. You even thought, I was like, oh my God, what are we doing now? Did you ever find yourself?
Yeah, it's much more work than you think, being like an owner instead of just a coach only, because I have coached on a CrossFit box 2 years before I opened up this one. But all things of like programs to book the classes and everything, we were just like, oh fuck. But we learned quickly, at least.
It seems like that's a common pattern in your life. Like you kind of find yourself in two things and then you find a way to just get out of it and pretty quickly, or to learn the skill that you need to pay the bills pretty quickly, whether that's like your CrossFit career or that's your business career. And that's pretty cool. Like you just get into it randomly and then all of a sudden things start to work. So now we get to the Open. Like you've already progressed a lot. Already last year, you were like among the top 50, 60 in, on the ranking, I think. And then this year, like it's probably your biggest explosion. I think people started to really like maybe talk about you even more when you put that insane video of 60 unbroken muscle up. Some big accounts started to report the name and it went up even more. Then I think it was like what, 61 toes to bar and things like that. You qualify at the games and now you're fifth. So you go from like, I don't even like this sport, to being one of the names that everyone's talking about now. How do you feel about this? You may be like competing next to people that just a few years ago you watched on the TV being like, oh my God, how do they do that? And now you're just next to like, hey, I need to beat you now. Like, did that get to your head or you don't think about it?
Yeah, it's really weird thinking about it. Like the first, I remember in 2016 when I first got into sports, and Catherine Davis said it was the winner of the CrossFit Games. You know, the movie on Netflix. It was those guys were crazy. So it's really weird being among them now, sort of. But this year's like the Open performance was really unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I have been injured in my knee for over a year now, so I haven't been competing or training normally the last year. So I went into the Open this year with no expectations, and I don't think I think no athletes knew like how the shape was this year, because no one has been competing the last year because of Corona.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really just living the national champion and top 11 in the world. I don't feel that it's true actually. So
I told you, you sound so like easy about it. It's like, yeah, you know, like it just happened. and it's like for something that is mind blowing, if you think the amount of people are in there, like to be just so high up, it's crazy. And well, like the fact that you even haven't been able to train, it kind of says a lot about your potentials. Like, look, I've been training 50 off. I didn't even know where I am. And now I found myself on top here. As this now, the fact that you're on top of there put like a little bit more expectation on yourself, or someone gave it to you for what's coming now on the quarterfinal? Has that changed a little bit the plans that you had, or you just, let's see what happened?
I think before the Open, I was really more like, let's see what happened. But now I think, I think other people and myself are expecting more from myself, but I'm still not 100% in my knee, so I just have to see what happens on that part. If the quarterfinals announce like 100 pistols, I don't know if I can even complete the workout. So I think maybe 2022 will be like the best season for me, but I will try my best this year, of course. But I just want to take care of my body and be injury free. So yeah, it's hard like putting up some goals before I know how my body will handle all the squats and everything. The Open workout was pretty okay for me, except the thrusters and the front squats.
I was just about to say, like with that workout must have been tough at least.
Yeah, so I haven't done thrusters or front squats for 1 year, so it was no redo. It was pretty painful in my knee, but I'm much better now. So I just hope things are going in the right directions, and I really hope I will be able to give it all this season as well. But I have no expectations for myself, like because of that. So, but of course, I really want to qualify for the CrossFit Games.
If you're listening to this on Spotify, you might not be able to see the video, but like she's kind of smiling from the eyes as she says that. I know that the brain is telling her like, look, you've been injured, these things that you can't do, but there's that still like that sparkle of like, I still really want that opportunity. And for me, it's really cool to see you like that. It's really interesting, and it will make it even more interesting for me to follow your journey and see what's going to happen, like, you know, with the quarterfinals, and eventually what's going to happen after that, or what's going to happen into the new season. As we start now going towards the end maybe of our chat, there's a few things that I was curious about, and it doesn't have to be like a deep conversation, but it's something that I'm just curious on. And if you could give like yourself an advice from when you started your journey in the fitness industry, whether that's as an athlete or as a business owner, what is something that you would tell to Matilde when she was 18? It's like, hey, this is really important, keep it in mind.
That's a hard one.
I know, right?
But I think I would have told myself when I was starting CrossFit, I was 20 years. So if we go to that, I wish I started with a coach earlier. Mm-hmm. I loved CrossFit so much from the very beginning. So I was the girl that signed up for 3 classes a day. Like, oh, it's rowing wood and it's weightlifting wood, and then it's a normal wood. I really want to do everything. So I wish I had started off with a coach earlier to learn everything properly. I didn't have the best technique in the beginning, but at the same time, I think it's important to have fun and train with friends. And like, if you start with a coach really, really early and only want to follow the program, so I think you should maybe have like a coach to help you with 4 sessions a week, and the rest can be like, oh, I'll just take a workout with some friends. And I think too many are like obsessed that I have to do my own programming and training on their own. And I think that's an important part, of course, to learn things and like improve your weaknesses. But I think it's really important not to have fun during the process.
That's very cool, because you see a lot like this fear of missing out, that people feel like, oh, if I don't do that set, then all my goals will crumble. It's like, no, mate, take it easy. It's fine. Like, just do the most of what you need to do and things will still happen. And something that I'm curious about, because I see that even on myself sometimes. I was like, now when I'm training like for a different sport, like, oh my God, I didn't hit my splits. What's going to happen now? But, you know, some days you might wake up as like, look, I just don't have it today. Whether my motivation might be a little bit low or just my body's like, look, mate, we've done enough for the week. I just don't have it. How did you do this before, or has it changed now as you're a professional athlete? Do you like kind of listen to your body kind of training? So it's like, look, I'm done. Like, I can't do that much. I'm just going to listen to what my body tells me and do what I can. Or you're more like, no, if I need to go there, doesn't matter how I feel, I just have to go through it. Like, how do you approach these sort of situations?
I try to like listen to my body. If my body says no, you're too tired, and if I have some pain or just feel really tired in my body or muscles, then I always listen to my body and maybe take 1 more day of rest or a deload week or anything. But if it's my head and the motivation is just like, then I try to do the workout anyways. And I think it's important to know the difference about my head is tired, I don't have the motivation, I just want to lay in bed, but my body feels fine, and my body is tired, but I really want to do a training. Because if your body needs to rest, then of course, if you go crazy on training, it's easier to get injured and overtrained. But if it's just the motivation, I think that's what makes you better. Like from being good to best, I think it's the days when you complete your sessions, even though if you don't have the motivation to go.
I love this answer. Like this probably is my favorite answer of the whole podcast. I think I'm just gonna cut this section and just like paste it on all my clients on every single day, so they keep it in mind. I honestly think this is an amazing answer to that you gave, because a lot of time people just miss one part where it's like, I listen to my body or I do that. And I really like how you broke it down. It's like, wait, what's tired? Are you just not motivated, or you actually need a rest day because you're sore? Because there's a very big difference playing in there. And if you do want to achieve something, and you cannot just stop because your head says like, let's just be lazy today. And I love that. I love the power of hard work and where it can bring people. And I love like how resilient, like I never thought people could train as much as they train, up until I kind of moved to Dubai a few years ago, when I saw Jamie Green or Elliot Simmons or Carmen Bosman's like getting ready for the games. And I was like, wow, what's in these people's heads? Like they just, like, I was amazed by how much like they were driven to that goal. And yeah, and I love the sort of answer that you just gave it to us now.
Yeah, but of course it's yeah.
No, tell me.
It's always easier to tell others than yourself. But I feel like when I have been injured now, I feel like some days I have one athlete, Matilde, on my shoulder, and one physiotherapist on my shoulder, and they're like fighting to physiotherapist part of me trying to tell me like, okay, don't do the squats, you don't have a great knee, and athletes Matilde just go for it.
And you also have the third personality as the coach, so you are a physiotherapist, an athlete, and a coach all in the same head, trying to deal with the whole that must be confusing sometimes.
Yes, it is sometimes.
That's very cool. So like now we mentioned the three Matilde, the physiotherapist, the athlete, and the coach. But who are the three people that like helps you the most towards this process? It could be like, your family members or athletes you looked up to and kind of like took custody of you, or your coach. Like, who are the three people that you feel like, oh, like these have been so influential for me, and it's amazing what they've done?
Yeah, that's a hard one as well. But I think the people around me here in Trondheim, and especially all the members at my CrossFit box, they are always supporting me and cheering on me, like even if it's just a session or a competition, online competition, they are pushing me a lot, because I'm training a lot on my own. I don't have like other athletes or people who are professional athletes at the same level, so I don't have that push on each session. But all the members here, they are really supportive and cheering on me during the open, and yeah, that's they have helped me a lot. And my family is really supportive. They have my mom and my dad have been playing sports when they were young as well. So they are really supportive, and just they were checking the leaderboard way more than I did during the open. And like yeah, they are really supportive and want to join the competitions, and just they are supporting every decision I take. If I want to like move away for some months, or I had to go home earlier from the Easter holidays now to prep for the quarterfinals, and they are like totally understanding everything. So they are really supportive, yeah. And of course my business partners, Ingrid and Jannike, that I own the box with, they are supporting me and helping me. Like if I have an important competition, they are working more than me, or helps me that I can do most of the work that I can do from everywhere. And yeah, so maybe those. And of course, I have had the same coach since the first time I got a coach, so he have helped me a lot to get where I am today.
I love this too, because like being in a positive environment, of course, make the whole difference of the world. It can really change the way you see yourself and you see things around yourself. So I really truly believe in the power of like having the right community around. And I also love the fact that you kind of trust the process and stay with the same person for a long time. We often see people trying to go like kind of cut the corners or go through shortcut, thinking that jumping right and left is going to give you best results. but probably just stick to something, commit to it, and follow the process is always the best way to try and actually achieve your goal. Before we round it up, I have the last one for you. If you were me, is there anything that you would like to ask yourself that I haven't asked you?
I don't think so. I think you asked the most important questions.
All right. So it seems like you did a good job.
Yeah.
All right. I will let you go because I know you have a busy day. You have all your trainings and all of that. So I don't want to keep you here for too long. But Matilde, thank you so much for the talk. It was awesome to finally meet you and spend a little bit of time with you. And I wish you all the best for what's coming next. And I'll definitely going to keep on following you. So thank you for making the time for us, and catch you soon.
Thank you for having me.